sitting at a park, the last park that I played with my child at. $5 years ago. I just got done trying to update my insurance. And then they told me on my Medicaid that my daughter was still on my Medicaid. And I was like, that's preposterous. I didn't say it like that, of course. I never have these articulate words at the times that I need them sometimes. And I said, I haven't had custody of her for 5 years. And I tried to explain that to people. I haven't seen her in 5 years. And they said, well, you have a household income of 2. And I was like, that makes no sense. Like, everywhere I go now, I put that it's just me. Because it was beaten into my brain, literally, physically, that I am no longer the mother of that child that I birthed back in 2012. October 13th, 2012. Because of a piece of paper. Because of people that manipulated and abused me. And I realize this now. I rationalize all this through all the therapy and everything. That's why I'm calmly had to pull over and have my emotions right now so people could comprehend why I'm driving around erratically, or why I'm frowning all the time, or I'm sad, or look startled because I have to smoke my medicinal marijuana and detach and everything for my PTSD. So I went directly after that insurance and adjusting my insurance to a different plan directly over to the DHS office, the Department of Human Services, and to adjust that household income so that they could finally understand after all these years how traumatic it is to see my daughter's name written, and how traumatic it is for me to acknowledge that she exists, but she's not next to me because of the words and the actions of other people, and not my own toward her. So it was my stupidity, it was my naivety, my ignorance to have signed over the rights without reading the paperwork, without acknowledging that my ex-husband was manipulating and doing distorted things behind my back, in front of my face as well. So when I would catch on to him lying and manipulating certain circumstances, I would get really hyper aggressive. And he didn't understand that. He didn't understand the psychology behind that. That's why he left 2 loaded guns with me after filing for my disability and claiming that I was mentally unstable. But still left those 2 loaded guns. Nice. Not really. I am having a panic attack, although it looks like I'm very calm on the exterior. I have panic attacks all the time when I'm in stores, and I have to hold my emotions, and I can't cry. And people have told me, don't cry, it makes us sad, it makes us this, it makes us, yeah, it makes you feel about what has happened to me and rationalize what has gone wrong, how I spoke out when I was 12 and your buddies didn't help you or help me, the law enforcement didn't stand up for a girl like me because I had nothing to offer the world. And then I gave birth, and I thought that was something that I could offer to the world, and I got so accustomed to being a mother, so comfortable in that mentality of just giving everything, giving my all to my daughter and not myself, that I let go of who I truly was inside, which was just a compassionate, caring person that gets bitchy when people piss her off. I mean, There's nothing wrong with that. So people, when they would say I was crazy or act out or that I was getting too vulgar with my words or too condescending, even toward officers in authoritative positions and figures, it's like, who are you talking to? I already understand that. My father beat it into me when I was a child. I had to listen to him because you couldn't control him, so he was all psychotic with us. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. The trauma is so immense. The beatings and the blood and my rabbits and everything, and trying to comfort myself in ways because I was always out trying to fucking kill myself. I'm angry and sad and distorted all at the same time because nobody heard my cries for help years ago. And when I spoke up and I was like, I'm not okay during the divorce, and no one gave us counseling, no one did this and that because my ex-husband played the victim very well. But who's truly the victim in this case? Who is truly the victim in this case? His family physically assaulted me, 4 of his family members. Then I was taken to jail. What? I called the police. That makes no sense. Everything is recorded, everything is monitored. I understand that. That's why I don't act out the way that you presume I'm going to act out. Are you insane? That's why I'm not violent half the time. 90% of the time. And that's what frightens people even more, because they know when I do act out, it's kind of psychotic. It's sociopathic. And I'm thinking, I don't like doing those things. I don't want to do those things. You shouldn't look at them as that. When I break people's things, maybe it was because he was assaulting me. Maybe it was because he had been abusing me for years and I didn't know how to respond until now. So, I used to care that there were people around when I made these videos, and I don't care anymore. My reality is distorted. I am a childless mother, so when confronted with the fact that Tara exists, I have to say I lost her 5 years ago, and people presume that she's dead. And I don't correct them, because to me in that facet, she kind of is, because there's no way of me getting back to her without having all that moolah, all that money everybody keeps trying to pull from me. I'm like, where are you going to get your money, man? The only thing I have to offer the world is creativity. The only thing I have to offer to the world, I couldn't finish accomplishing in college because everybody wanted to rape me for money anyway. And I was trying to survive and working 2 jobs and doing my very best, and then got with my ex-husband and all that stuff happened, and too much emotional turmoil, too much too many hormonal imbalances. I haven't drank water. Part of my issue today. I haven't had my vitamins either, but I did eat my oatmeal this morning. I try to maintain myself in little ways because everybody's like, nobody's going to take care of you, Leticia. Really? Because I'm pretty sure that's what the government's doing right now when they're paying my disability and they're paying for all my stuff and they're giving me all this and that. I know I'm grateful. I know I'm very grateful for what I have. And most people saw it as me just taking. And I'm like, excuse me. I'm pretty sure I'm fucking stressed. I'm pretty sure this is that moment where you're supposed to say, she could have done better. I was just at the insurance ladies and she was like, you are brilliant. That's the exact word she used. Did you know you're brilliant? She said, your vocabulary, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whatever. And when I get it on film, I look like a slob anyway, because I'm all high and trying to just maintain my emotions. I'm sad. Very sad. I smile though, and people are like, no, she can't be sad. Look at that pretty face. Look at that pretty smile. Look at those eyes. She could never do a thing wrong in her life, except try to kill herself. It's true. I stole from some people that I worked for, and I felt really bad. I'd never gotten in trouble by the law, but I always knew deep down that my karma would get me. So the theft, I thought, oh God, everything. And then when I lost everything 2 years ago trying to contact him and got told I was harassing his communications, what? I'm sorry, why didn't you see that as a cry out for exactly what it was? He's a marital rapist. He shouldn't have traumatized me during those hours when I should have been able to sleep peacefully. No wonder I can't sleep properly. No wonder every time I get startled here and there and the sleep positions I have and all this and that and the trauma. Nobody believes me, though. Nobody's ever believed me. In my entire life, no one has ever believed me. And I'm thinking, that makes perfect sense. Everyone saw me as an actress. Everyone said I was being too dramatic. Look at her with her fancy car. Look at her with her fancy clothes, her fancy water bottle. Look at her. She's all maintained. She brushes her hair. Look at her nice teeth. Excuse me, I put work into myself every day so that I could have these teeth. I put work into myself every day so that I can have 20/20 eyesight and great hearing. I put work into myself every day so that I don't snap and murder somebody. I joke, but that's funny to me because I thought growing up about murdering my father in his sleep for what he had done to me. Murdering him, just killing him and stabbing him when he was weakest. And then I realized they continually sexually assaulted me when I slept. Everyone does. Random men do. And I'm like, whoa, I'm never going to get away from it? I don't think so. I mean, in the sense that it's going to come back tenfold on everybody that's fucked with me in my life. I don't even have to do anything. It's about souls. It's about being a good person. It's about doing the righteous thing. So anyway, you people make me laugh. You make me laugh. You make me cry. You make me sick to my stomach. When all the gagging I did in the back of that cop car a couple days ago. And my voice was hoarse for a day or so. These bruises on my arm, I don't know if you can still see them, that went up and down here. And also on the other side. At some point there were some, there's some markings there. Because they wanted to make sure to enforce their will on something that was weaker than them. Something that didn't comply to their will at that moment, in that instance, just like my father. That's psychological distortion. If you think that you're going to get into a job and you're not actually helping the people that you were sworn to protect and serve, my daughter's not being protected right now. My daughter's been ripped away from me. I cared for her the very best. You know, the first time I was away from her, I was around her 24/7. I loved her so much. Everybody was like, you need to get a job. No, I don't. I can have a job from home. And so my ex-husband, that's why he signed me up for disability. He was like, this bitch ain't gonna do shit. And he's right. Because I'm very creative. I don't want that 9-to-5 job or that. I wasn't here on this earth for money. I was here for love. That's what I sought. My whole life, I've sought love. And people are like, you're too emotional, blah, blah, blah. We don't believe you. Maybe those emotions are the truth. Are you not thinking it from that perspective? That's all I am, is emotions. You see me every day and I'm just like, I spread a lot of joy when I can. A lot of times a lot of hatred because I'm very, very sad inside and I don't want to be. And I'm like, here, you take my sadness for a while. You take it. Get out of here. Go. Run with it. Be angry. Spread the hate. Because that's what happens. And can't help it, man. Like, if I can't have my kid, the one thing that I've loved in my life, aside from my dogs and everything, my animals, those tiny little helpless beings that I wanted to make sure were okay, I stole for them. I used to steal food for them. I was a terrible monster to this local community, and that's why I knew I was being monitored and whatever. I already knew. They hated me from the very beginning because they knew I wasn't caught on camera doing this stuff, so they couldn't do anything actually through the law. I feel terrible that I have to admit that because it's not fun. It's not fun that I had those mental distortions, seeking love, seeking financial stability, and trying to appease the things that I loved. And I realize that now that I had a codependency issue and I needed to get away from every single person so that I could get strong on my own and recognize things as it was in my reality and who had abused me and who had been there to manipulate and distort my mind for all those years and tell me that the psych meds were working and to tell me that I needed to take more medicine and those psych meds and how they altered my chemistry caused me to act out even worse than I am now. Which honestly, I don't really act out right now, except I didn't smoke a couple days ago and I was pissy. I was mad. It was the day before my daughter's birthday. Who wouldn't be mad if they haven't seen their baby for 5 years and they love that child so much that they would literally breastfeed them, literally give birth to them? Like, here there was an option to have aborted her, and I don't say I should have, but I'm just saying it could have been a different way. I didn't do that. I wasn't that bitchy. I was like, no, I love this guy. Let's have a baby. Let's have this beautiful Tootsie. And she was everything I'd ever dreamed of. The most beautiful little baby. So cute. I hate myself and I hate my life for having had her, because now she's gone and I can't be near her because of the words and paper of others. And I'm thinking, are you insane? That shit means nothing. If I was truly psychotic, I would have jumped those fences, I would have smashed that glass, and they'd be dead right now. That's what a really crazy person would do. Am I crazy? Have I done it? Those loaded guns he gave me years ago that I sat on for 3 years, I could have went and shot his fucking brains out. True, if I were crazy, if I were actually crazy. But that's just it. You wanted me to get me in trouble for every single word that came out of my mouth, but I claim freedom of speech because you need to see and hear the psychology behind it and understand. The mentality is this man abused and assaulted me. The mentality is the man's family assaulted me. So of course I would sustain so much trauma, and actually it was documented that I had post-traumatic stress at that time, and that's exactly why my ex-husband fought in the way that he did, sneaky and dirty and, behind my back in that way, because he knew how much he had done wrong. And you guys don't see that yet? Instead, I'm sitting here suffering without my Tootsie, without being able to put her in private school. I would work. If I had my daughter, if I had something to do with my freaking life, and I did it for those years because I was still working as I was maintaining her. I was still creating. I was still selling. I was, even with the poodles, raising toy poodles, and everybody loved those little poodles. They said, oh my God, that changed my life. That low, cost poodle. I made my life so much better. It's my part of my family. Yada, yada. I'd get letters and this and that. Now that I have to burn them and everything. So I've lost everything. Every bit of evidence that I was a decent human being. And then I thought, you should just die. Society doesn't want you here. Your child doesn't need you. She's already got a new mother. And everyone wanted me to believe that as well. Even some of the officers. What are you doing trying to get back to her? She's already got a family. What? Don't you realize that I would have raised her better and more appropriately? Put her in the system, put her in a private school so that she could have been part of something? Put her in gymnastics, put her into a life that I didn't have? But instead, you maintain that she's doing better with whatever semblance of a life she has now. Wow. That's why I wanted to move out of this state. I wanted to move up north so I could put her in a better schooling system so that she would have more appropriate friends. Because here in Hot Springs, I hear what the little girls talk about in the YMCA locker room at the age of 12 and having had sex. That scares me. That frightens me. Never did I think that I would have a daughter and have this transpire in such a way. Never. That's why I was horrified. I didn't want her to exist as a female on this plane. And then named her TLC. Initialed her that, you know? Terra, meaning earth. Linnell, meaning idol. She is everything to me, and people don't understand that. And I'm just like, do you not get that? Like, I wasn't here to just procreate and just waste and just take and take and take from the earth. I did not mean to take. I was excitable. My soul was aroused by everything I saw and wanted to lust after. Greed is what it was. And I realized my 7 deadly sins. And I try so hard to just maintain every day. Don't take more than you need, Leticia. The earth doesn't need that. Yada yada. Don't create more than you have to, Leticia, because expending your energy like that is of no good to anyone anyway. They've never appreciated you from the very beginning. So I realize that now. My art means nothing to anyone. My activities mean nothing. Everything about me means nothing. My ex-husband drilled that into my brain when he said, I just don't believe in the constructs of marriage, and then went off and got remarried a couple years after to someone he went to high school with. If you do not see the psychological distortion on that end, I cannot help you people. I cannot help any one of you people, any single one of you human beings. And yes, I am a human being, obviously. I have no superpowers. I mean, that I know of. I'm creative. I write well, dance well. That's it. I don't do much of anything. Linguistics, smart, know a little bit about science and math. Nothing I can offer to the world, though, because I'm so sad. There's something missing. There's still a void. There's still nothing. Just sadness. So anyway, that's how my day is turning out on October 15th, 2021. A Friday. 2 days after my daughter's birthday. 3 days after I was violently assaulted by those officers. I say assaulted because there's no reason to treat another human being like that. Aside from you have better things to do, get this one over with, check please. Let's just drag her off. She's not complying. Excuse me, what? I can't comply when I'm not all here, buddy. So, what you gonna tell me next, huh? That me standing over here, or me videoing here, or me this and that? Just like that officer that tried to tell me, well, this is private property. I'm sorry, I'm not damaging the property. Where's the owner? I mean, did he call the police? No, he didn't. So then I stayed there for a while. And no one said anything after that because you knew you just wanted to take me to jail for any reason you had. Because all you see is your lined up misguided information of all these arrests that happened. That weren't even my fault necessarily because the way I emotionally acted out, you couldn't comprehend. Because not even your nurses in your jails can understand sadness and emotion or crying. And people tell me, don't do that. We can't understand you. What? Then you're in the wrong line of work then. Because if you're going to be harassing homeless disabled citizens and making them cry, you should be able to handle it. That's fucked up, man. Fucked up. That's all I do is cry because I'm just like, ugh, don't touch me. Don't touch me. You're nasty. Like, I know what my rights are, and that's freedom of speech. And yeah, I was on his property for a little while, for like 30, 40 minutes. The fuck? What's so wrong with that? I'm confronting my trauma. And you're going to say, you go to jail. You owe us money. Okay. You'll get that energy back and forth for yourself. But I'm just telling you now, I pray for some of the people I've interacted with on this realm, or in this realm, on this plane, on this earth. Because some of you are fucking insane, and I get told I'm insane. I brush my teeth, buddies. There's a difference in crazy. There's a total difference here. And you're not seeing what actual psychological distortion is. Let me go get some McDonald's right now. Let me go get some Popeyes, some KFC, some blah, 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 blah. Let me just get all that in me. I've stopped eating a lot of that junk for a couple years now, a few years. And so I'm slowly getting out of my system and all the processed foods. And I'm rationalizing, holy smokes, a lot of that is chemicals in there. And that's what goes straight to your brain. That's why people end up with dementia and Alzheimer's from all this crap and all their Red Bulls and all their coffee and all this and this and this, because they don't realize the chemistry that happens and the fluctuations in hormones. And so that's why I stay away from it all. And I was like that for many years. I couldn't even take aspirin. I would have adverse effects. Couldn't even take anything with like caffeine in it is what it was, not aspirin. Caffeine. Because I was so sensitive to all of these elements and chemical compounds and things break out into rashes, all these different psych meds they would inject her with, or take these pills, or, vancomycin. I'm like allergic to all this stuff because, yeah, that stuff's not good for you. All those additives, all of those dyes that you're eating, all of those different, animal products that have those antibiotics and hormones just plowed right into them. People are like, no, that doesn't affect. They're coming out with research. They're coming out with plenty of verified research that proves those things are directly linked to cancers, directly linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, fluoride, all of these different things. And I've started to stay away from them, and I can just see things so much more clearly. That's why I'm just so patient a majority of the time. I just sit here and I'm like, just chilling. Sure, I've got my emotions, but that's still being patient because I'm not affecting anybody but whomever watches these. And my daughter will understand later on exactly what I lived through in order to get back to her, because it wasn't right. It wasn't fair. And I miss her very much. Anyway, like I said, it's all about money. Whatever they can do to drag out of you. It doesn't matter the emotions and the trauma I sustained, because people have died over things, and I should just be grateful that I'm living. What? That is a backwards mentality. You're gonna force me to survive through nothing? Like, force me to survive to live for what? What family? What friends? I don't see anybody here. I see the last year I've been chilling in my car. I see the last year I've been doing yoga here and there. And the last year I've been exercising and eating healthily. And I'm just trying to maintain. I just pray that everything works out for every individual who's watched these videos and see how I suffer from this moment forward and how I just share it with everybody. Here's my pain and suffering. Here you go. Let's all party together. Like, let's all cry. Let's all this and that, because life is shit, and you kind of have to just get over it. You just kind of have to buck up, buttercup. People are still gonna, them hit it. People are disgusting. Like, and I'm just like, oh God, for real? One day that's gonna change, and you're all gonna get your karma. One day it's going to change, and you're not going to have to look at me from what this is. Like, can I just have crazy freaking hair one day? Can I just not wear makeup some days? And so sometimes I just put a little bit on my eyes. That's it. Just so that people can rationalize that I'm still a human being. I'm trying. They want to see makeup. They want to see nice clothes. They want to see this and that. They don't want to see you distorted, because immediately they'll snatch you up and put you in jail over anything. If you look gross,